Hello, everyone. Today we're talking to Dr. Sam Mukasa. He's a friend and radiologist practicing with us for a little over a year now. We'll explore his journey from Uganda to Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and now the DMV. He's had ups and downs, but the man has persevered.
Excuse me, is this the reading room?
Yes, I'm Dr. Saad Manzoor.
I'm Dr. Travis Howard.
Welcome to the reading room. Thank you for pressing play. We have Sam Mukasa in the house. How are you today?
I'm good.
We appreciate you coming all the way here to do this with us.
Thank you for coming.
We're very excited. So, real quick, I just wanted to say that, the first time that we kind of virtually met, you were very proud of your last name. Did I say it correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so where is your last name from?
So I'm originally from East Africa, Uganda. I like to say born and raised. I was there till I was 13. So the roots of who I am today were already set. So that's where I am. Came to America in '98.
Okay.
And I actually moved into Cincinnati.
Why'd they pick Cincinnati?
I think my parents, the way they decided to have this whole thing play out was my mom came here for 2 years, kind of set the groundwork, and then my dad was there in Uganda with us. And then when we came over here, they wanted us to have a decent Ugandan community. And it was either Boston, which is like Uganda on steroids.
Is it?
It's too many.
No,
It's too
wow,
many.
okay.
It's got too many. It's like a Chinatown, but just Uganda
I had
town.
no idea. Okay.
And basically, then there's Cincinnati, which had, just not a lot of people, but more close-knit people that would actually help,
And they knew people in Cincinnati.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
that's super important.
that's how I landed.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
That's where the
So
story
how was that
begins.
adjustment? How was that adjustment to Cincinnati from Uganda?
So it depends, right? So
13 is kind of old to come.
actually, I think I was 12.
But still, that's like,
And-
you remember that change.
Yeah. So basically, it was. At first, I hated it,
I'm sure.
in the sense that the way they drew this whole thing up, and just to kind of give you guys some feedback, not feedback, but like kind of the setting,
background,
the background. I was in primary 7, which is pretty much the end of, I guess it's middle school, just to make it relevant.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was supposed to go to secondary school, and I had just finished. I got the score I wanted, and I had this life for, it's secondary school. It's gonna.
You already knew the school you're going to go to
I
and
knew
everything.
the school I was going to. I
yeah.
knew my friends. We already, it's gonna
About to
be
shut it
lit.
down. Exactly.
So basically, fast forward. They just come up to me like, "Oh, we just got you a gift for Christmas. We're gonna send you to go see your mom for Christmas. Let's do it."
Oh, absent parents.
Right. So I come. I'm in America. Get a little bit excited. See snow.
You came in December?
Yeah.
Oh,
See snow
man.
for my
Okay.
first time. I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 weeks later. I started getting a little bit curious because nothing's happening as far as nobody's.
When is my return ticket?
Yeah.
So that's the same exact question I asked, and they were vague about it. I was like, "Oh no, we're working it out.
Oh,
We're working
man.
it out."
Shout out African parents for being vague about everything. Yes.
So then I go back and I look at the ticket that we came on, and I realized it was a one-way. I mean, we traveled a decent amount, so I was like, "Oh, maybe
They price lined it.
maybe something's
Yeah.
up." And then my mom, I think I had asked about it so much that she had to sit me down and tell me that I was not going back.
Like, how many weeks in was this?
This was week 4.
Week 4. Okay.
Yeah,
It's a long Christmas break. Yeah.
So then I turned into a menace in the sense that I reacted, but then everything else is history. And,
Sam, you acted out at that time?
yeah.
What'd you do, man?
No, so don't expose me, man. Don't expose me.
You already made it.
So-
You already made it. You're good. You're good. Statute of limitation.
So, in retrospect, and as an adult looking back at the situation, it was the best move for all of us in the sense that Uganda now is a decent place if you don't if you have a good way, an honest living.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is honest living is really, really hard to come by. But as a child, going back, it's paradise in the sense that nobody stopped me from going outside and kicking the ball.
Man.
All you have to do is get your grades in order, and everything kind of falls into place. So
Right.
I really enjoyed my childhood. My childhood was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so here I am in snow
Yeah.
without my friends.
Oh yeah. You didn't even say bye to him.
I didn't even say
Oh,
bye.
my goodness.
And I was on like the brink of like the next
Yeah. Yeah.
part of my
You guys
life.
about
I
to
was
shut
like
it down.
secondary,
Exactly.
and that's not gonna happen. And then you put me in culture shock because like high school, man, that
Yeah. That's
that
a
thing
big
is
deal.
tough,
Yeah, it is.
especially if you're not hip to the trends. I spoke English, so that wasn't an issue.
Did you wear a uniform when you were in Uganda?
Yes, and then you come to school,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't even
Huge
care
social
about
pressure.
matching. I come up, I just have pink, blue, orange.
Didn't matter.
Exactly.
Didn't matter.
Oh.
I show up, and all of a sudden, lunch show is about
yeah.
me
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody
You're
has
getting
something
clowned.
to say.
Yeah,
I'm getting
exactly.
clowned.
Getting
So
clowned. Absolutely getting
but
clowned.
you get used to it, and you grow from it. But looking back on it, it was the right move. We've been blessed to be here. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true because there's no chance you would have got on the plane if they would have told you you're not coming back.
No,
So-
absolutely not.
Kick it and screaming.
Absolutely not. I would not be here today.
Oh, that's funny.
That was the approach.
Hey, that's how the African parents do.
Man.
Man, they were just like, yeah, we're about to go. I mean,
Did
like,
you
when
adapt?
No, they present as a gift.
oh
right?
yeah,
That's-
oh yeah,
we
that's
got-
true.
we got you a gift.
That is true.
You're gonna go to America, see your mom, and I hadn't seen my mom for about a year at that point, so it was kind of like, oh yeah, I want to see my mom. And,
Yes, thank you for the gift.
Oh,
yes.
plus America's a bonus, I guess.
Yeah.
I got to see America once in my life.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, that's funny. When I was in
20 years
I was gonna say when I was same thing. Like when I was in high school, I got like really into like rap and basketball and stuff, and I was like, I'm just gonna be a rapper, and if not, I'll just be a basketball player. That's it. So then my parents did kind of the same thing. They were like, you know what, we're gonna go to UAE for a year, and I was like, nah, not gonna be able to do it. But then eventually got out there, and like my grades were like slipping. I was like a freshman in high school at that point, and then we went there for like 2 years, and you just like, for me it was like the opposite. I learned how to study. I learned how to like actually focus and like take tests and stuff like that. So then when we came back from my senior year of high school, I felt like just had like confidence in like being able to learn in education and getting like better grades and stuff. But that's parents are kind of the same thing. I mean, I feel like they knew they were going to stay for 2 years. They kind of like presented it originally like we're going to go for a couple months and just see how it is. But
Oh man.
nah.
2 years of high school in the UAE.
Oh yeah. I was in
Man.
El Ain, a small desert town. It
Well,
was
I'm still 20 years and counting. My gift is still going.
it's a gift that never stops giving, I guess. Well, so let's go here. So let's take us to medical school now. So like when you're in medical school, what was your toughest class or rotation?
So, medical school, I would say I didn't have a specific class but the challenges that I had were the adjustment in medical school. I think the first block I got punched in the mouth.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
No, well, so in mine and Travis, and the way it was set up, there was this block where there was an exam at the end of it. You had to pick up your syllabus. And I didn't really know what to expect. And I wasn't listening. My sister was 2 years ahead at this point.
In medical school?
In medical school.
Okay.
And basically, she had told me, hey, you gotta start. As soon as you get there, read, blah, blah, blah. But I was hard-headed and didn't do that. And I remember the week before exams is when the review started. So Travis, I want you to put this in like, think about this for a second. So I went to the review and they're telling us what we need to know for the exam. After the review, I went up to pick up my syllabus.
What?
I went to the locker room and they were all stacked up in my locker, unopened, still in the wraps.
Still in the plastic.
Still in the
I know
plastic.
that.
And what I'm trying to tell you guys is basically I had gone to some class. I had gone to class for the most part. So
Oh, you were good then.
right. So no, I'm not good. I hadn't read anything
Sounds like
at
a lot
all.
of plastic, yeah.
So to say the least, I think that was like the roughest time in the sense that like being unprepared for something you know it's coming. Like you opening the syllabus and it's 500 pages that you haven't looked through.
Such a daunting task.
But I think that set the table for like how I've been ever since then, in the sense that making it through that period was the growth that I needed. It was something that happened to me that I grew through. And it's kind of set the table for actually how I carry myself today, in the sense that I know there's a next gear I can kick it into. And basically that it doesn't make me invincible, but like in this, it
gives you confidence.
It gives you confidence that, man, this is going to suck to get through, but I can do it. But it wasn't, I say that now, but then it was actually one of the worst times I had. And I remember I was on the phone with my sister and I'm like, I am walking into this test and I hope I get at least 25%. Like the type of personality you have to be in medicine, right? You're a perfectionist. Now, for somebody to be at the level that you're saying, man, I just want 25%. Like I was at my low point.
That's an ego check, for real.
Right? And it's humbling. It's humbling. So
set yourself a low expectation, though. Right. 26%. You're like, no, I did it.
Well, but at that point, I would say after I figured that stretch out, it all became, you knew what you had to do.
You did.
It's just doing it.
Just getting it done.
Yeah,
absolutely. I know that feeling, man. You go into those tests, if you haven't prepared, you'll get hit in the mouth.
It's scary.
But after that, you learn. You got to put in that time.
You
put
do.
in that time ahead of time. Prepare.
There's no shortcuts with it, because it's we've talked about this with your engineering background, where like sometimes in like engineering or some other specialties or things you study, basically you can kind of learn a couple concepts and like find your way through a test, but like medicine is something where you actually do need to just be able to look at everything and
memorize
it's just volume.
Everything.
It's just volume. It's just volume.
It's
all volume.
It's drinking from a
fire hydrant.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you get used to that.
Yeah, and again, I think the hardest part is kind of figuring it out. And when I talk to some of my colleagues, non-minority, of course, and to them, it almost comes. The reason I struggled so much is even after I had a sister who was 2 years ahead of me, like seeking that information of being within an environment, like if your parent is a physician and you kind of grow up seeing it, you kind of know that they give you some information along the way. So you are prepared. In the sense that when I get in here, well, I was the extreme. I was like, well, let's medical school throw the first punch, and it threw it and it connected. But I think at that point is when I realized that this is an opportunity I could squander away if I don't take it seriously. So that was kind of like a shift mentally. But also having my sister there was a huge bonus.
Oh yeah, I think like just having the confidence, like just knowing someone that's like so, close to you, that's actually went through the exact same steps is important. We talked about that with like mentorship. Just having someone in the house, like a sister who's actually done it, and them at least being there to like at least listen to you, like
right.
And shout out to your sister because she killed it. She's an impressive genius.
Oh, that's good.
So the heat was on. I know.
A lot of pressure on you. Exactly. Oh, that's funny, man. That's wait. So, like, did you go to undergrad at Cincy as well?
Yeah, I went to Xavier.
I went to Xavier. Okay.
Yeah, and again, so at Xavier, I'm trying to look at opportunities that kind of helped me through that journey.
I feel like you didn't study at Xavier until it was time to study for the test.
That's. How'd you know?
It carried over.
So again, funny enough, my medical school journey starts in high school, and I'll just touch on it just briefly. There was a high school teacher I had. I think his name was Mr. Sable. And he noticed a trend that I was doing. Basically, if you looked at my report card all the way till midterm, you're like, oh, this guy is he's done, right? And then at some point, you just see a flip where, you know, I know I had calculated my way to, I'm gonna get an A in this class, and basically figured out how I was gonna do it. I don't care
calling your
about
shots.
I don't care about the second test. I might care about the third test. The fourth test is where it's all at. So I just need to figure out what I need to do in my fourth test.
You did that in high school.
I did that in high school. So he had noticed this trend, and he says, "Sam, I'm not gonna give you an A in this class." I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like,
I've read down my calculations.
the numbers say A.
Yeah, right.
You can't not give me my A. So he's like, well, I'll only give you an A if you sign up for this course, right? And this course, and because he knew it wasn't a.
It was a work ethic issue.
It wasn't even a work. It was like I was gaming the system. I wasn't challenged that much, so I was gaming the system. So he knew I had ability. So he's like, well, I want you to sign up for this course, and that course was offered by University of Cincinnati, and it was a health exposure program.
Oh, okay.
And basically, the only reason I actually took that course was because they would offer you a paycheck at the end of it. Oh. So you did
take the class, really?
So it was an exposure to the health care field.
I see. Okay.
So that's where I went, and that's where I met Dr. Collins.
Oh yeah! Shout out to Dr. Collins.
So
okay.
But again, this is high school. This is 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, we're talking about, sorry, what was your original question?
Oh, just undergrad. I was like studying in undergrad and everything. So.
Right. So in undergrad, the same trend would continue in the sense that I knew exactly, okay, chemistry, all I have to do is maximize this time. So the trend was always there in the sense that I would open my Red Bull at 8 on Friday, study that Saturday, Sunday, and
kill it on Monday,
crash the next week,
Tuesday, exactly.
And then the trend kept going, right? So that's pretty much what I carried into medical school in the sense that, exam week is here, but the volume was just absolutely
different.
It's a different beast.
Yeah,
it is. Man.
It's a different amount of volume. Yeah, that's no, I mean, there's no like ifs, ands, buts about it. It's just different amount of volume. Like the amount of study, like at Ohio State, we were on a quarter system, and you could kind of get away with like
coasting in the beginning.
Yeah,
for sure,
just a little bit, because there just wasn't as much information per like semester. Our quarters were like 10 weeks or something, as opposed to like a semester that was like longer. Mm-hmm. So you could actually kind of do that, but. Yeah, I can't imagine like that transition. You probably doing your calculations in medical school, like wait.
So I got and it was a bad habit.
Yeah.
So talk about that exposure to healthcare, and I know that you have some healthcare professionals in your family, other than your sister.
Right. So not direct. Well, I had an aunt, an uncle, who were both doctors, but. Very hands-on with us, so I will count them. And the reason I bring that, because it was, when I was applying, I only applied to one place. And I applied to University of Cincinnati. And it was just because I was pretty much groomed all the way from high school.
With that program,
right? Because then it had a secondary program where you return your junior year. And same thing, my incentive was there. They were going to pay me my $500 after it was, I think it was a 7-week program.
Yeah.
But also through that program, I met it was a Dr. Akimbi I wanted to do peds, right? So at the end of that program, I'm like, I'm curious about peds. So he took me under his wing for a little while. I would come to his office and shadow a little bit. But so that was my major introduction to. Healthcare is not that bad. Let me try it out. Let me try it out. So,
and your aunt and uncle were back in Uganda.
So they were in Cincinnati.
Oh, they were in Cincinnati too. Cincinnati. Okay.
Where'd they train?
So they trained in Uganda, and then they came here. Let me remember. I think 93. And then one had to go back to do a residency. The other one just got a job in pathology, which is what he was doing before.
Nice.
With doing kind of like a 1-year internship. And So, that was them.
Nice.
Have they ever compared like how rigorous the curriculum was that you experienced versus what they experienced, and did they ever compare them?
No, per se. I think the hardest part about their transition was like path, pathology varies from regions that you're in.
Yes.
So the way you are prepared in medical school there, so there, Uganda is pretty much does it the British way.
Yeah.
Where, and I don't know exactly how it breaks down, but it's a lot different.
I think you go to medical school right after high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a 6-year program,
Yeah, so it's a
basically.
6-year training program.
Yeah.
So they felt when they came here is their biggest challenge was getting in, right? So
Into the system.
into the system, because the system, the odds are against you when you're not trained in America, which
you have to take step 1, step 2, step 3,
Right.
all before you apply.
Right.
You have to
To train again.
and you have to kill all the exams to even
Right.
get like a look,
Yes.
basically, right? And then you have to be like super high, like on all of them.
Right,
And then
right.
you're basically just going wherever you get a chance. You apply everywhere. And,
Right.
Right. So
So, and that's how they ended up in Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati
Yeah.
gave them the biggest shot. As far as one of them didn't really have to go back to study. It was kind of like the internship. So that's pretty much why they settled there.
The commitment to medicine there, just for anyone who has to go through that journey, that says a
tough.
whole lot
Yeah.
about the passion for what you do,
yeah.
and just sticking with it.
Yeah.
No,
So,
it does. No, it does. And I
big
think
ups to
like,
them.
no, I was gonna say also, I think like there, like when you've like already committed like 10 years of your life
That's the
in
thing.
in
before you
Africa
even
to be a
get to the
doctor,
US,
and then like it's tough to like just pick up and like do a new, you know,
Yeah.
like something new. But like, we see it all the time. You meet a taxi or Uber driver who's like, I was a physician back in my country,
Exactly.
and this is what I'm doing for now. But hopefully I can get into the system. It's not.
That's-
It's tough. It's tough, but it also gives you a lot of perspective, I think, too. So
Right.
like, you don't take your opportunities for granted. So when you do have to pick up your syllabus that still has its plastic on it, you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know what? I can do this.
Yeah,
I can do this.
I might need to prepare a little bit more.
Yeah, but I'll do it. I'll do it. Oh, that's funny, man. So, but did you guys know each other in medical school?
We did.
Yeah.
We would. I would see Sam on the basketball court here
Nice,
and there.
nice.
But I guess we would be 3 years different, so just 1 year.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
knew his sister a lot. I knew his sister more. She was just a year
Gotcha.
below me, but yeah, they were always doing well, man. This family was always killing it.
I
They
see.
made it look easy. I don't
No,
know. I don't know if
absolutely.
you were struggling, but you made it look like you were just chilling.
Yes.
No,
but
no. The struggle was there, and I don't want to like again. This syllabus thing is it makes it seem like yes, I opened the syllabus and everything it wasn't great smooth sailing. I think the first and just to be real with everybody, I think the first set of exams, I think we had 7 classes.
Mhm.
Um,
And this is what the exam was over all 7 classes, or like
so
was it?
yeah,
you
there
just-
was a block, and
I see.
The
Okay.
block within the block there were I think 7 classes.
Gotcha.
And basically, of I think those first 7 classes, I think I only passed 3 tests.
Man,
Right.
Mm.
So 3 tests, and it was a humbling experience in the sense that I had to like sit myself down. Everybody was freaking out, like, oh well, this is what happens. You're gonna blow it. And I think I sat down with my sister, and it was kind of humbling yourself to like take feedback.
So real. Yes.
B, understanding that, and you talked about like how hard it is for other people to get here, and
Mhm.
to me that means a lot in the sense that when I moved here, one of the hardest things for me looking back is like the people I grew up with, like their life is a lot harder than mine.
Yeah.
On an
Yeah.
everyday basis, and so you look back and you say, okay, I had an opportunity that these people would give X, Y, and Z for,
Exactly.
and here I am just for the sake of I don't know, I just didn't feel like studying, or I just wanted to
Play basketball.
play basketball. I'm here squandering it, right? So
Yeah.
you humble yourself, like you kind of remind yourself of like why you're here, and pretty much
I was gonna say specifically for you to like have to sit down with your sister who's like killing it and be like, listen,
Yeah, and
what happened was that's
yeah,
tough.
and this is my younger sister, by the way.
Oh man.
Let's
Yes.
yeah. So
Wow. Yeah, that's
it was.
it's important to get humbled though.
It is.
I think-
You grow from
so
that,
I-
man.
so,
Yeah.
so there was a humbling pill that had to happen, but there was a
Yeah.
lot of fundamental changes in my approach to how I
Mhm.
went about things, and also like clearly studying.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I think I even now I have a hard time kind of forgetting that experience, and because what I can hang my hat on is like when you're in medical school, everybody gets smarts.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
since people
Because you
play
made
basketball
you
here.
made it to medical school.
Right. So since people play basketball here, we real basketball players say like you're a better basketball player depending on how many tools you have in your bag.
Mhm.
And like skill wise, let's say everybody has a skill level. There has to be some intangibles that separate,
Yeah.
between us that everybody uses to succeed, right? And at that point, I had to like sit down and be like, okay, what's going to be my secret tool? And to me, it's like hard work. I don't say this lightly. I don't think a lot of people can outwork me if I need to get to that point. It's kind of like the extra level that you can kick
No, that's it.
kick it
man,
into.
you gotta have that.
It wasn't what you shooting in the gym.
Right.
That's right.
So in the sense that I know like if it gets hard, right, that's my extra tool. That's my
That's it.
MJ
That's your-
fadeaway.
No, that's your
There you
superpower.
go.
That's exactly right. It's your superpower.
right. And it comes with some
Yeah.
trade-offs in the sense that like
Absolutely.
when I think Travis, I know you don't remember this, but I think there was an exam I was studying for. Actually, you and Ron were walking down the hall, and you said what's up to me, and I think I just nodded. I didn't say much, but it was exam week. Exam week, I had to look.
We all did.
So Ron
Playoffs.
calls me and he's like, "Hey, I'm concerned. You look a little bit rough.
Yeah.
I need to know what's going on." Right.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, "Nah, it's just exams are here." And kind of that became
Playoffs, baby.
right. It's a playoff mode. So ever since then, it's like I vowed again never to feel like I need that 25% or ever
Yeah.
be in a situation like that. I don't want to call it PTSD, but like you,
Man, I know that
you are-
feeling. It
I
happened
will
to
never.
me.
I'm never going back. Yes. So my preparation will be so much better than it needs to be that I never have to revisit that state of mind because it was a rough time.
Lesson
No, I
learned,
think,
man.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think like, I feel like psychiatrists, psychologists, they talk about like, people have PTSD, but there's people who like actually can benefit
Oh yeah.
from like, it's like a post-traumatic, I don't know what this specific term is, but it's like a post-traumatic where you just get better, basically,
Yeah, you
like you
learn
turn
from
the
it.
trauma into like something that's gonna be able to like support you and like, create a superpower out of it or just have confidence, like stay easy. All those things are like super important. So
That's the goal. That's the goal with any hardship,
yeah,
Just
To
gotta-
learn from it.
yeah, that's
That's what I learned from my first round of exams.
You got
Because
it.
I called everybody. I called Dr. Collins. I called the professors. I said, I don't perform this way. I don't know what's going on, man. What can I do? I was shocked. So when you say that punch landed, man, did it land. But it was definitely a growing experience. So
You gotta
and like like there's no substitute for it either. Like you can't describe it to somebody like who's not in medicine or who's like who hasn't been through the similar situation. It's just like this is just different. It's
Yeah.
very, very different. It's
Different
something
beast.
that's gonna like fundamentally change like the way I like approach education like from now, and that can happen. Yeah, I mean it's good that it happens, during medical school, because then later on, because it's not the first or last hardship you're gonna have. And
Right.
You're gonna have more hardships as you like go along, and getting farther in education, you can like learn more, from other things too, and not just be scared of the moment.
Yep.
So that's I think that's like super key. So
I'm happy you were able to dig deep and make it happen, man.
yes,
You got to radiology. Talk to us about that.
yeah.
Talk
This
to
is
us
not
like-
pediatrics.
Yeah.
Oh, why radiology? Is a question. Why is it radiology?
Yeah.
So I hit this crossroad where after my third year, I wanted to tell myself I like to do anything, right?
Mhm.
did OB. Okay, I could do OB. I did I did surgery, and the part of me that liked surgery, I didn't want too many parts of. In the sense that,
Was there a particular surgery you liked?
No, I just felt like I could definitely. No, so the person I liked to shadow the most was he was just a general surgeon, so he
Okay.
did. I couldn't do orthopedics. It's it was barbaric in there. I go in there and woo wee, hammers are flying. Anyway, long
He didn't
story.
like that.
I was like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But I was at this crossroads, and the doctor was talking to me, and he asked me. He's the surgeon guy. I was like, okay, so you want to do surgery? I was like, yeah, I can do surgery. And he's like, can you see yourself doing anything else? I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, then you probably don't want to do surgery.
No, man. Who is this, by the way?
No, this is a good.
What doctor is this? Shout out to whoever doctor this
No.
is. Shout out to
And I
them.
think it was great advice. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that is like the mindset that I had to like narrow down my focus. Like I needed to know that is this something I could do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And pretty much he gave me he was really open about giving me the rundown of his whole life, and it was down to earth guy.
Yeah.
And kind of then I started to kind of critique things in that fashion. Peds, you ask. So love peds, love kids. I can play with kids all day.
They are cool.
Ever after
They come with people though. That's the
yeah,
issue.
well, and the people didn't bother me too much. Yeah, I can do with people. People, I can manage very well. The monotony of like
Yeah.
after a week and a half,
A wellness checks.
I just got to the point where I was like, "Is this it?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Then there was internal medicine. Internal medicine in the sense that I felt I was not. What's the word? I'm trying to not be offensive.
You can be real. It's
No,
your-
I felt like I was limited in what you could do for the patient, right? Like I felt like it was a position where a lot of the intervention you did for a patient was through medicine, right? And basically you work with a pharmacist, and that's the only that's your only way of kind of putting your print on somebody's disease, right? So I wanted something more hands-on. So that's when surgery came. And surgery was out of the picture. And I was talking to my uncle, and I was like, I can't figure it out. It's like,
Is the pathologist?
Yes, it's a pathologist.
Okay.
And he was not recommending pathology.
Okay.
But he said, hey, have you thought about radiology? I was like, yeah, radiology. I get you have to be like super smart. The test scores have to be astronomical. And he was like, well, just look into it. So then I started paying a little bit more attention, and I try to put myself in the attending shoes, whoever I was shadowing, and it was kind of like the vibe, like the sort of person that I wanted to come and work with every day seemed to be like a radiologist. Now again, there's some trade-offs in the sense I had to figure out like you're not going to have as much patient interaction, which was a hard thing for me at first.
Yeah.
But then there's always interventional or something you could do to kind of give that balance, right? Like, so radiology just seemed to fit me personally, just because I'm a computer geek at baseline. Two, I actually enjoyed my rotation. I was the only person that ever showed up to radiology rotations in medical school.
Yeah.
Everybody else was a radio holiday. So to me, I would, and they would try to send me away. And I think I got annoying to some point where you would just come down to the reading room and they're like, okay, you can leave now. I'm like, no, I want to see. Can you?
That's why I used to tell these medical students, like, your grade is inversely proportional to how long you stay here.
That's what you used to tell them?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a preceptor,
The longer you stay, lower your grade.
Yeah,
It's your
that's
choice.
hilarious.
So yeah, basically it was something I genuinely liked. and ask myself the same question. Do I see myself doing this long term? Absolutely. And yeah, surgery just wasn't going to work because I can be a workaholic, and I was going to.
Yeah, like it's important to like know that about yourself. If you feel like you're going to go into something that's going to take over your life, and you know it's going to take over your life, it's important to like be like, you know what, I don't think I can handle something like this. I'm not going to be able to turn it off. So let me choose something with like set hours. So good for you. So you feel like you made the right choice?
Yeah. I on a day-to-day basis, I tell everybody. I mean, I think radiologists are, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a podcast, but I genuinely think that radiology is at least the right fit for me. It has a flexibility that I want in the sense that, again, I can see patients. I can not see patients. I can always see pathology, and you're always like an advisor to people implementing medicine, right? So
100%.
So I think that loop in itself, where you're in control of what sort of interaction you're having in regards to somebody's care, is just, to me, invaluable.
That's true.
And I don't mind being in the dark room.
Exactly. If you can stand it, it's all right.
It's not that dark, too.
It depends.
You can control that.
Depending. If I'm on MEMS, that room is so dark.
I say,
It's so dark.
Mammography, you got to have it down.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, just like anything in medicine, we've talked about this before, where like, you know, like everything in medicine is like, it's Pandora's box. You can pick any specialty and like you can kind of tailor it and kind of do like a job molding and turn into like whatever you want to turn it into, you know. And you don't really know that until you like look into something particularly, like you did for radiology. Like, you know, someone who doesn't do radiology thinks the radiologists only do one thing, but someone who's in radiology knows they do many, many things, you know. And I'm sure like I don't have that perspective for someone who's like in, you know, urology or something. I'm sure that like once you're in urology, you can do 100 different things, right? So it's just
they just do prostate.
That's
all they do. Prostate exams all day.
Well, that's one thing that I recommended to some of the students that we talked to. It's like, you know, you might think that being a surgeon means you have to be one thing, but it is very important to kind of try and feel out what you think you want to do. Take the time, and you'll be able to craft something that works for you. Yeah, most often.
Yeah, especially creative. I mean, I think job molding in any field is important. Like, you know, you have to figure out what you like about a particular, you know, specialty that you like, and then just try to focus on those things to kind of help yourself out to like, you know, be able to focus on those things and try to minimize the things that you don't like as much as you can have control over. It's important because that's what's going to kind of determine your happiness. Yeah. Because like if you're looking to the job to get all your happiness, you're not going to get it because it's in the end it's still a job.
Don't recommend that. Job's a job, a career is a career.
Exactly.
You need that balance.
That's exactly right. So you two both applied to a few medical schools. So tell us about residencies. You applied a bunch of residencies, or did you kind of know where you wanted to go?
I think I went on like 27 interviews.
Nice. I like that. Running back numbers.
Absolutely terrible.
This is pre-pandemic because you actually had to go there. So.
Yes, I had to go there, and the thing was I would know as soon as you step in. Well, after about an hour.
Oh, you check the vibes. Yeah,
you know this place is for me, and this is not for me.
Yeah.
And I remember there was one of my very last interviews was somewhere in Peoria,
Illinois.
Oh yeah, and I'm driving.
I know that place.
There's hay everywhere, and there's farms, and I'm looking around. I'm like, the GPS is telling me, "Oh, you almost to your location. You're so almost there." And I'm like, "Well,
where are the people?"
Right, right. So anyway, I get there, but I think UPMC is where I ended up picking, and it was kind of not the most glamorous place to be, but it's what they put forward in the sense that UPMC is a very...
And this is Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. University of Pittsburgh
okay.
Medical Center. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's taken over Pennsylvania in any way. And what I did like about that is, and I would tell anybody, when you're looking to be trained somewhere, exposure is really, really important, right? You limit yourself in how much training you get. Now that I'm starting out, I can really say that I benefited a lot from being at UPMC in the sense that there's obviously some things I haven't seen, but a lot of the challenging cases, which is what seemed to be like our everyday case. I would get nervous coming to study normal just because we saw so much pathology.
All of Western Pennsylvania was coming out there.
Right? So and the subspecialties, right? So if they're ranked and basically well known in their fields, and you got pioneers of their field, you have to have pioneers within radiology to deal with those pioneers, right? So basically, that was my choice in the sense that Pittsburgh was just not going to be a social light in my life. But what it presented was an opportunity to learn from the best with a lot of opportunity to branch out in any sort of subspecialty I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
I would like to just pause for a minute, though, to recognize what a radiologist contributes to that field that is ranked.
Yeah.
That is like gets a lot of publication, that a lot of people will seek a medical center to see that specialist that is highly ranked in that particular field, but they have a team.
It's a team.
And the radiologist and the imaging team is a part of that. And it took me a while to realize at Mayo that, this is the guy that knows all the pathology in the ear for this world-renowned ENT surgeon.
Exactly.
I don't know. Just shout out to radiologists.
Definitely shout out to
doing
radiology.
the thing.
Yes. Because, if they're doing some crazy procedure, then someone's reading the scan for it, someone's looking at the complications for it, someone's pointing out, something may or may not be correct. Like, someone is there helping them as well. So I think that's super important. The radiologists are around, and they are doing those things.
I've witnessed the conversation. The radiologist will tell the surgeon, "Hey, you got to go back in, man.
Yes.
That's not right. You got to take that patient to the OR. This isn't right."
Bro.
So, Coach Radiologist coming at you.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right.
But you also have to be like, once you're trained by, so there's levels of training. And I can say this just because I did fellowship at the same place, and we had, other people come from different centers, right? So you get a breadth of like what people are comfortable with and uncomfortable with, right? So by the time, they finish their fellowship, you have a discussion of, how's fellowship been? So, and they will tell you, like, based on my residency training, when I came here, the level of training is just very, very different. And it's very, very different because in order to be a level, I'm not going to call it a level, like if you have a lot of advanced subspecialties that you have to like train and be competent to advise.
It's just repetition.
Right. Yeah. If you have to advise those people that are on top of their line, you have to also be that much more competent.
Exactly.
Right? So the cases that they, initially found challenging, or things that most people. Okay, let me back up a little bit. In the sense that the training that you have, especially now that I'm starting out, has a lot to do with how comfortable you're going to be in the long run. And if it wasn't for high-level training and high-level people, I think that places you in either gives you the advantage or gives you a disadvantage when you go out in the world, because you're not going to always be in control of what comes your way.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's true.
Basically, what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, that's exactly right.
Good training program, man.
Yeah, I mean, you guys trained at like mega programs, so like that's it just gives you confidence in knowing that you're going to see something that like other people haven't seen before, or just sometimes it just comes down to like doing like certain protocols or certain skill sets that you're going to have coming from a big name program, where that like you're going to be able to like come to like a new group and be able to present that to them, be like, hey, I can do this actually, like this is not I'm comfortable doing this type of thing. So that's like that helps you get jobs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'll help you get a job. I mean, that basically that'll just help you get a job.
That'll get you hired.
Yeah, that'll get you hired, because they'll be like, okay, this guy's bringing this skill set that we don't necessarily have,
right?
To our place, which is very important. And then also like when you start the job, and then they see that you trained at a place that like other specialties see that you train at a place that has all these like subspecialties that they're interested in, whether it be like urology or orthopedic surgery. They're like, oh, this guy's coming from UPMC. Oh, so they do this there. So I think I'm comfortable doing this now, with this person being here to help me do it, So that's, no,
That familiarity goes a
super
long
important.
way.
Yeah. Wait, no, so how so what specialty did you end up picking to do your fellowship in then?
So I guess body imaging, but it seemed to vary across whoever you ask. So I don't know even what technically body is anymore, just because it's so it's so
everywhere.
broad.
It is. Wow.
It's everywhere.
And for example, in our UPMC, body means not just imaging, pretty much neck to pelvis, but also procedures in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So in fellowship, we did a lot of procedures, biopsies, drains, so on and so forth, and you just left the vessels to the IR people.
Oh, I see. Sounds like you did IR fellowship.
Well, but again, it's a sort of training, I think, and I didn't think of it. I thought that's what everybody did. That's all I knew.
Yeah, like if that's what you know, that's what you know.
And
that's
people
it.
coming in, I'm like, oh, you're here to do body. Your procedures come. Oh wait, we do procedures here. And again,
Exactly.
training is always well, but
Yeah.
now, like if you put me in situations that require such things, I'm very comfortable doing such a thing. If my job doesn't require it, that's fine. But I still have that skill set. So
Oh, that makes sense. Wow. Yeah, that's
So why did I pick it? Again, I had the same issue with kind of subspecialties because it's very broad. It's much broader than you think, right? So, like, for example, the initially I was gonna do neuro. And why neuro? Again, I just love the teaching they had. They had a lot of great ENT docs there who pretty much love to teach. So that was, I think, my very first love. And then the more I did it, the more I realized that if you get when you get very organ specific, everything else starts to become a little bit foreign the farther out you got. And that was just my experience, just because we had some rotation, and it was an academic program, but occasionally they would ask them to kind of step out of whatever you're reading, and you see somebody who's so competent in one thing, and then they get a little bit shaky when you kind of step out, right? So
100%.
So neuro was kind of where I first started. I was like, I like neuro, but I don't love neuro.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do it. I don't love neuro.
Yeah.
MSK. Bones are bones. I love, in the sense that they're no emergencies. It's great.
That's why I chose it.
So
There you go.
That's exactly it.
It's just,
And the surgeons don't care what you say.
they don't. And okay. And that's what I struggled with. And I remember, in the sense, we're trying to make it through this whole list of studies that were just kind of dumped from some outside. And I'm trying to read them, trying to get done on time. And the attendant keeps saying, hey, man, just let that list go. I'm like, hey, these studies have been sitting here for a while. They need to be finished, right? So then he says, well, honestly, don't prioritize those, because the orthopod who orders them reads them himself. In the sense that he's already made his interpretation from them. And to me, it was like, wait, what is my value now? Just to put something in that can be built. So that I struggled with that. That ruled MSK out for me. I still love it. What else is there?
Nuclear medicine.
Nuclear medicine is unclear medicine. I don't mess with nukes at all. At all. It's just it's a big blur.
Yeah,
literally.
It's it's funny.
MAMS.
Yeah.
I have grown to love MAMS as I've been done, but it was
growing pains.
It's growing pains.
Yeah.
So the body just gave me enough diversity, in the sense that there's enough studies that you don't have to be so monotonous. And I loved it at where I did my training, is because it gave me that balance where I could see patients for a decent amount of the day.
Yeah.
I could do procedures and still do some reading.
Yeah.
So I like reading. I think I would say I still like reading more than procedures, but when as a fellow, it depended on what.
I mean, if you're comfortable with both, it's good.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's all it is.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that one thing that turned me off on body was, I mean, you open up a study, it'd have like 700 different sequences, and I would just be like,
MRI sequence.
oh man, it was like, then they're moving, and it was just like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. But
the good thing, the good breath of fresh air is like at UPMC. Again, it's they take care of a lot of pathology, and I remember the first week I was on as a fellow, and we were on call. Pretty much on call, you would do, you kind of do a preliminary read on what the studies are.
Okay.
So you go through case, and you're almost afraid to open the next case just because of what you saw in the last case, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a bomb dropped in the belly and just went off, and pretty much you're trying to figure out, okay, where's the liver? And by the time you're searching for a liver in an abdomen, things are a little bit weird.
Exactly.
So after you get comfortable with that, I would say like now it's really, but by the time I'm struggling with a case, I'm like, okay, so this is a very, very tough case. So it gives you a little bit of confidence that I was adequately trained.
Yeah.
If this is a hard case, it's probably going to be a challenge.
If it's a hard case for you, it's a hard case for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but
dive in and do your best.
Yeah, that's it. Find the liver.
find the liver. Find the liver. If you can't find the liver, close the study.
I was gonna say, I feel like radiology is good in that way, where like, if you have like if you just have like a process for each study that you're gonna be opening, like you'll be comfortable, you'll be fine. Like if you just have a process, you have like a search pattern for each study that you're gonna be opening, like at least you'll be like, okay, well, let me just go through things that I feel like are normal at least, and then I can at least comment on those, and then I'll come back and talk about the things that are a little bit more abnormal.
That is my approach to
that's it. You just try
disasters.
Just get all the W's you can. Just
right,
get a little,
right.
Make a little free throws. Get the bunnies real quick.
They add up. They add up.
They do.
You don't want to lose by free throw.
You don't lose. No, not at all. Well, speaking of which, I think Travis has some questions.
No. I was just gonna ask you, along your journey into radiology, Sada and I have talked about the lack of mentorship that's available for those with similar backgrounds.
Yes.
To say you may have or I may have. Can you talk to any difficulty with that, or were you fortunate enough to have a mentor that helped you along the way?
Yeah. So
please shout them out.
Are we talking just radiology, or are we talking
medicine and radiology, all of it?
Yeah, we'll talk about radiology too. Yeah.
So I'm very young in the radiology field, so I think that's still, in fellowship, I did have mentors, but I wouldn't say they were more enthused by my curiosity to learn rather than trying to help me because of other reasons. But in medical school, I think Dr. Collins, again, that program I talked about earlier that I started in high school, that was actually my ticket into medical school, in the sense that, and it's going to sound so bad, but I really, this whole journey, along the way, I tried to like mess it up.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of guards that just did not let me mess it up. And that was one of them. Again, randomly, a high school teacher tells a kid to sign up for a program. Randomly, they meet Dr. Collins or Dr. Kim, my mentors in that sense that Dr. Kimby was the one who kind of made me fall in love with pediatrics. Dr. Collins was stayed with me. So again, there's a gap between my graduation and getting into medical school, right? And the gap was in college. I had NBA dreams.
Yeah,
I know it's funny, but like I played too much basketball, and basically, in order for me not to mess it up, whatever higher force was there decided to have me tear both my Achilles tendons. So it took that off the table for me because they knew I wouldn't quit otherwise. But then it refocused me to get into medical school. But again, along that whole journey, Dr. Collins was with me throughout the whole way. Dr. Collins was the same advisor for my sister. Now, Dr. Collins had never met my sister, but through me, he knew who I was. So when it came time for my sister to apply, I was like, hey, you should go to Dr. Collins. And Dr. Collins was like, oh, your application is excellent. Next thing, she's in University of Cincinnati. So Dr. Collins, for my family, has been a godsend.
Yeah,
Dr. Collins.
Mine
Shout
too,
out
man.
Dr. Collins.
Dr. Charles Collins.
Dr.
He's the man.
Charles Collins. I should give him a call.
Me too.
We will. We're going to shout him out here. We're going to get him on here.
Yeah,
We've heard too much about him.
So outside of Dr. Collins, I think, was it Dr. Ken Davis? I don't want to miss his name.
Ken Davis.
Dr. Ken Davis. When I was flirting with the idea of doing surgery, he brought me along and says, hey, well, this is what it looks like. And basically he run me through his whole life and, his day-to-day. He was also
objective answers.
Right.
Yes.
And he also sat me down. If this is what you do, if this is what you want to do, here are the trade-offs. Here's the great things about it. And it was, that was, I think, very instrumental in kind of my path. Who else helped me out? Again, shout out to my sister. This whole thing, again, I was trying to mess it up. The whole way, right? And again, so it was somehow, whatever it is, my sister had to go before me, right? Because I needed her, her guidance when I got there. Because again, that first block.
That's huge, man. That's
First block. That first block. I was in her room. So she lived in an apartment. I think she was in Stetson. So I remember going to her apartment and I just dropped all that binder that I had just freshly opened. I dropped it on her floor and said, I can't. This is not happening. So she has this confidence. She's like, Sam, just okay. So start with what you have. And we'll get there. And even after the whole disaster, she kind of put me aside and says, okay, so this is how we're going to set up your studying, so on and so forth. So I think she's the MVP of my journey.
Nice. What's her name, by the way?
Damali.
Shout out to Molly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say, you're saying it's random, and I feel like, we kind of felt like what we went through was random, but it's not random.
Right? No,
it's not random. These people, when they find you, they see that you're talented. They feel like you're gonna work hard. They're gonna stick with you.
Yeah, and they're needed, and they understand how much they're needed.
Exactly.
On your journey. I mean, you needed that example. You needed that help, that tailoring a study plan.
Yeah.
Without realizing what it takes to get through, it's much harder.
It is.
No, it really is. And I think that's the whole point of doing this is, anyone who's kind of going through, we want to be able to be hey, it'll be okay.
Exactly.
You'll be all right.
Exactly.
You'll be okay. We're here. We are here to help. We think you can do it. We know you can do it. You got to keep going. Yeah. And hopefully sharing more of these stories and, letting people know that it's not easy. It's not easy. And when some stuff happens, when you tear your Achilles, there's a reason for it.
Both of them. Two was overkill.
Wow.
Two was overkill.
Wait, how did you tear both your Achilles?
Long story. So
trying to dunk.
No. So in college, I was decent at basketball. So there was a free spot, not a free spot, but a walk-on spot that opened up.
At XU.
Yes.
Okay. That's a D1 program.
And right. So basically, it was. I already knew the team.
Yeah. You were getting buckets on them already.
No. I just played with them over the summertime. But
they knew who you were.
They knew who I was. So I was like, oh, this is it.
Oh man.
So that summer, right before the tryouts were actually going to happen, I can see it now. I came down baseline, step back, jump shot. I see the ball going in. And then all of a sudden, it felt weird. It felt like somebody shot me. It's the weirdest
story. Yeah.
So, I look around. I'm like, who in the gym would shoot? And
You were in Cincinnati.
Why?
They might
Yeah,
be shooting
you
at
are.
the gym. You don't know.
Shots fired.
Why? So anyway, so that killed that. Again, that was my junior year.
Yeah.
And then my senior year, I'm like,
Wait, so tell me was the rehab rough coming back from like an Achilles? I feel like everyone talks about how crazy
so
it is.
the first one I got surgery on.
Okay.
On the second one I didn't. They put me in some sort of equine cast, and
Okay.
I was in there. But again, they advised me not to run or do anything for about 6 months.
Did you listen?
No. So
Yeah, no way.
because and the reason I
No
didn't
way.
listen was because they didn't take anybody for that spot.
That was your spot.
That was
That was gonna be
junior year.
supposed to be.
So hey,
And if you would have got injured after you made the team, it would have been fine. It would have been your spot. You'd have
Right.
been on the squad.
right.
But it's just very painful seeing that spot like not being taken by anyone.
Right. So
And
they were like, you know what?
I feel you.
It's for me. So
Kobe.
Yeah.
so I cut my running time down. It was you're supposed to start at like 6 months and do gradually. I started
Yeah.
about 3.5, 4.
Mhm.
And I remember actually same gym. I'm working out by myself, and yeah, it was kind of like deja vu. Just
Really?
made her move,
Wow.
and then but I was overcompensating basically.
Yeah.
The other side wasn't healed all the way. I'm trying to work my
Yeah.
way back. Same summer.
Oh man.
It was about a year and a few months later.
Same gym.
Same gym.
Same
Man.
shot, same baseline jump.
No. This time, driving right. No step back this time. I had learned from the first one. So then
I'm
I
gonna tear
tore
my
that.
Achilles. I'm going right. Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, but again, I needed to. My apologies.
No, you're fine.
But I needed to refocus. I think at that point I was spending a lot of time playing basketball. I mean, that's all I did.
Yeah.
I would go to the gym, study, go to the gym, study. Social life. I was part of fraternity, which also gave me some good things. But most of the time,
Which fraternity?
Alpha.
Shout out to Alphas.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and that they were instrumental, like me growing up, becoming a man, kind of representing myself as that.
Yeah.
I think that was key because I think I got to college at 16. And
man.
basically there was a lot of growing up that had happened for me to get there. So it's almost like I don't believe it. I mean, whatever you believe in, I think there's somehow whatever greater force just has made it so hard for me to mess this whole thing up. It's almost like they put things in place just to keep me on this path. Like I tried to mess it up, and there was a correction already calculated in there for this.
It's good that you recognize that you didn't like rehab the Achilles and like go make it to start the G League camp. Yeah,
he knew
some people would. Some people do.
They might settle for that. Yeah.
Some people
They were
do.
like, with one he might try. No, let's get the second one. I think it's not serious. He's not taking it seriously. Let's blow the other one out.
We need this man in medicine.
Oh
Right.
man, that's funny, man.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's-
surprised you didn't go to MSK after all that, but
No.
It's all good,
No,
man.
the
It's all
bones,
good.
the bones didn't call me.
excellent. Any more questions?
Oh man, I always like to ask that mentorship question. 'Cause we want to make sure we can be here and a mentor to everyone.
100%.
I think as Saad has said, we need to put a face to this journey and let people know that it is possible. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you sharing
Yeah, no problem.
your journey, and
Yeah.
it's impressive. Big ups to you for making it work. You
It's not
say
through.
I tried to mess it up. But man, did you do a lot of things
You
right?
did. You did it right.
to get
A
where
few
you
things,
are.
a few
So
It's not. Yeah, this isn't luck. It's not luck. It's not
No.
happenstance. It's not. This stuff. Eventually you recognize what your path is going to be, and
Right.
you embrace it, and you just go ahead. You go full forward, which is what you did, obviously.
pat on the back.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. So
Thanks.
we appreciate you coming and doing this with us for real, man. This is
Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Oh, we'll do it again, definitely.
Right.
We'll
Yes.
go into more detail about
Right, we can go-
med school basketball. That should be its own podcast, by
We
the way.
could.
Yeah, it should be its own thing.
We're good. But that's important. You gotta have some sort of balance.
You do.
Oh yeah.
Just don't overdo it like I did.
No, there's no overdoing it. You made it here. You didn't overdo it. It's all good. But we appreciate you coming by. Again, hit us on IG at Reading Room Talk, on Twitter at Reading Room Talk, or at
Yes.
readingroomtalk@gmail.com. And till next time, stay low. Keep firing.
Yeah. Hit us on IG at Reading Room Talk and drop a line or voice note to readingroomtalk@gmail.com so we can discuss your case. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you get your pods, preferably in between cases.